So hello and welcome back to another video. Today I want to try to make an epic boss fight using only redstone. For the boss, what I'm thinking is it's gonna be like a giant slime with cannons and mechanical weapons. So let's get to building it. Using glass like this, we should be able to get kind of an effect of transparency around the main body of the slime. I think it actually worked pretty well. Of course, if we have Optifine, we can remove all those borders and it'll look way better, but I can't use it because I'm gonna need the calibrated sculk sensor for later, so that's the best we can do. Now I want to try to give it mechanical weapons, cannons I think, on the side. That way it kind of has something to attack with because we can't really move it. So here they are. I know they look kind of weird, but I'm not really sure how to fix them. So let's just ignore them and build a room for the fight to take place in. I've just finished the room and I think it's looking pretty good. I only need to fill it with some water because it's supposed to be a swamp. I made it in a way so you can't really jump out. Every space here is at least 1.5 block high. You can't jump out anywhere. And now I think we can start with the redstone. So the first attack I want to give it is to have these cannons kind of shoot out TNT here. Then by using other hidden dispensers of TNT, we can kind of make a shockwave. I don't know if my explanation was good, but basically using TNT a bit like this with delays, we can make it look like it has a shockwave. A bit like this, so it explodes starting from the middle. That was a bit too quick, but I think you can tell where it's going. On top of that, this room is made out of water, which allows us to do that a lot easier. I want to be able to shoot at the front here or at the back here. That way we can kind of force the player to move in different corners. I'm gonna see if we can achieve that with just kind of a normal TNT cannon. I don't know if that's gonna be enough delay. Let's just see. So this one lights first and this one lights. It should get shot forwards. Definitely not enough. I'm gonna try two things at the same time, adding more delay and more dispensers because it definitely wasn't shot strongly enough. I'm gonna add a bit of water here, so if it fails, it lands in the water. Let's try again. Oh, that's way better. So that's perfect for the end. That's exactly where I want it to land. Now I just need to see how to shoot it not as far. The amount of times I almost blew up this whole thing in this video, Oh, that's perfect. If we can get that every time, I think we have our cannon done. Yes, it works. Okay, now for the shockwave TNT, I'm gonna need to do a bit of testing. What I was planning to have it kind of hidden is to have a bubble column like this. And then we can stop it with a chain, which is going to be completely hidden under the water. With how explosions work, it might do no, wait, how? Okay, that's just a fit. Yeah, it does almost no damage. I might just try to put dispensers under the water and hope nothing blows up. Feels like it's not gonna go well though. Now to wire these up, I kind of have to make these fire first and then kind of these. Just to make sure I have kind of a shockwave. We're gonna have to have different layers of redstone here to control the 4 different corners where it can start. This is gonna be really long to wire it up, but I think right now you can tell how it's gonna work. Basically, we're gonna run redstone here. That's gonna power these blocks with delays. And we're gonna have other layers underneath to deal with all the corners. This should be our first corner. Yes, this works. Then it just blows up in a shockwave, and basically if you're in survival mode, I think anywhere into here is pretty much death. Let's just see. Yeah, it's a one shot. And on top of that, it seems to not blow up anything. I've just finished doing all the corners for the attacks with this spaghetti redstone. Now if I press this button, we should get TNT that kind of simulates the shockwave of a supposedly bigger piece of TNT. And now I just need to wire it up to these things and we should have all the 4 basic attacks completed. Now that it's wired up, we can actually see that it works incredibly well. Let's try front left. So it should be here. These TNTs have to light first, unfortunately. And then everything just blows up in a shockwave. Now we're gonna need to hook this up to a clock so it triggers every so often. And we can also use sculk sensors to detect where the player is, so it doesn't fire in this corner if you're in the opposite corner. It's all hooked up now, so if I turn this lever on, it should in theory start firing every about 30 seconds. Let's see. This is also my first time testing it, so I don't know if it'll even work. Okay. It fires in this corner, which is exactly where I am. So that seems to be working. Let's go in the other corner just to see. Now I'm here. It should be detecting me. It actually fired at the back, but I think that's good because I was kind of in the middle here, so both were triggering, and it just picked this one instead of this one. Now I'm just gonna go over and quickly explain how it works. Basically, we have this clock here, which decides when to fire. I'm gonna turn it off while I explain because I don't know if you can hear me over the TNT. So this is a hopper clock. This clock triggers this, which is basically a randomizer. It has a 50% chance of choosing a random cannon, and another 50% chance to just fire where the player is, which is what this system does. This just remembers the last place where the player was seen at. And here at the bottom is the second circuit, which just picks a random cannon between the four. So all of that together, coupled with the sculk sensors, detects where you are, has a 50% chance of firing at you, and another 50% chance of just firing somewhere random. So now that we've got a way for the boss to attack us, I think I'm gonna make a way for us to attack the boss. I have an idea on how we can do this, but I'm gonna have to test if sculk sensors can detect arrows landing. So let's see, I'm gonna go out of the range of it, because if I'm in it, shooting the arrow actually gets detected. So does the arrow land? I think it did. I'm not sure if it triggered. Let's try again with the piston to clearly indicate, and yes, it did. So now that we can detect arrows, I'm actually gonna try like making weak points with simple block swappers. I think we should be able to retract a block behind. We don't really need to swap it, we just need to make it another color so the player knows where to shoot. And then using a carefully placed sculk sensor a few blocks behind, we can detect when an arrow hits that specific block. Using these block swappers I've just built, we should be able to switch the blocks for these gold blocks, which I decided to use for the targets. I just thought about it, maybe emerald blocks would look better, and yeah, that looks way better. So I'm just gonna swap it out quickly. Now if we flick any of these levers, it should switch the block for an emerald block, and then I've already gone ahead and marked the locations, but here at the right distance, if we place a sculk sensor, it should only be able to detect arrows that hit this exact block. I'm gonna have to mess with the distances a bit. I think it's about 16 blocks. I just counted and somehow these blocks are exactly 16 blocks from there. Shooting here should trigger it. Okay, I can hear it. Now this shouldn't. Okay. Oh my god, I got it perfect. So if you shoot the corner, it triggers, but if you shoot just the block next to it, it doesn't trigger. So that way we can detect perfect hits on these. They're a bit behind, so you actually have to hit this block. If you hit kind of here, even though it looks like it's right, it won't work. And by wiring this all up to a health system here, I should be able to have these weakness points appear after an attack, or have a chance to appear after each attack. Then if you shoot it, it will lose health. I don't know yet how to display the health. There's always the obvious solution of just putting a bar above it, which would be very simple, but I feel like it would kind of ruin the look of the boss fight. So a lot of work later, this should be our basic hit detection system. The fix for the problem where you would sometimes hit the block of glass below, even though you were aiming straight at the target, was very simple. I just had to add another sculk sensor below, that way if you hit the block below it will still detect. I haven't tested this, but in theory every time it attacks after that, target should have a chance of appearing, so let's try. And then after that we might get a target. It's not guaranteed, it's just a probability. And we didn't get one. Let's see this time, it's shooting again. Okay, there we got it. Now if I shoot it, we should get this lamp turning on. And we didn't. Turns out the problem is that I have these set to signal starting tree, which detects when you shoot the arrow but not when they land, which is obviously not what we want. So now if I reset it, we should be able to shoot it again, and yes, we do get an output. So now I'm gonna wire it up to the health system. I know it's kind of basic, but yes, I'm just gonna put a big health bar above the boss, because I couldn't really find anything better to display the health. In one of my previous boss fights, I kind of made the boss jump in a certain way, but it just made it not clear how much health was left. So just a simple bar like this should work. This is actually quite simple redstone, so I'm gonna show it here so that you can understand. So like this, if we put a redstone torch here, everything lights up, but if we put it here, we only get less health, and so on and so forth. You can kind of see where this is going. We just need to have a system that moves the power source from over here to over there every time you hit the boss, and we should have a working health bar. In theory, with just droppers and hoppers like this, every time we pulse this observer line, it should go down. It might flash though, so yeah, it kind of flashes down. And now I just need to return the items back to the start, and we should have our full health bar. Let's just quickly test it by starting the whole system again. Wait, I have to turn this off. Okay, so in theory, it should be forced to trigger this time. We got a target here. Now, if we shoot it, we should get the health. The health should go down, and it did. Perfect. So, I don't really know what to do with the second attack. I don't have any ideas in mind. If you have any, you can let me know down in the comments. But for now, what I think we need to do is give an arrow to the player whenever a target spawns, which should now be working. If we press this button, we should get a target, which is exactly here. And then a few seconds later, we get an arrow in the floor. Now, I somehow just thought of that, but we're gonna need a way to get out of here. And I think we can actually retract this whole thing down into the ground. Using slime blocks, it should actually be quite easy. I'm gonna have to modify it a tiny bit though. A bit like that. Just a simple double piston extender like this should work. If we trigger it, the thing gets retracted into the floor. So this should be the exit done. If we walk through here, it should close behind us. Now that this is done, I'm gonna go build the entrance in the roof here and decorate the whole room. I'm also gonna have to hook a few things together, and then we can test the whole boss fight. It's now a few days later, and I finished everything. As you can see, there's a lot that's changed. The main thing is the room around the boss fight, which I decorated, and I think doing that made it feel a lot more immersive. Anyways, I won't spend time on all the little details I've changed. Let's just get right into it. So here we have our starting room. There's instructions. So first you set your respawn point in the bed. So that way when you die, this pressure plate can detect it and turn off everything. Then you grab yourself a bow to shoot the boss. There's also command blocks here. So I'm gonna put myself in survival. These are just for kind of the settings. So now all we have to do is jump into cauldron and press the button. So if we do that, we get dropped down slowly using slow falling potions. It actually took me quite a lot of time to fine tune the potion duration for it to kind of stop exactly when you fall at the bottom using just vanilla potions. So after about 10 seconds it attacks and you have to run to the opposite corner. It then continues doing that about every 20 seconds. So let's just wait. Yeah, it still does that. Using sculk sensors, it knows where you are, as I already said. After every shot, there's one of these weak points that appear. When you shoot it, it loses health. I'm getting kind of used to this, so it's actually pretty easy, but on my first try, it was actually quite a lot more difficult. The strategy is basically to stay in the center. I might be dead here. Okay, I'm good. In the actual version, I don't think these targets are going to be guaranteed to spawn. I was planning to make them a 50% chance, but for demonstration purposes, I left them at 100% for now. Anyways, now if we kill it, it should die exactly, and this door at the back should open, letting us get out. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. If you want to try the boss fight, there's going to be a world download down in the description. If you have any suggestions for it, just let me know down in the comments. I think another attack could make it a lot more interesting and a bit less repetitive. Also, this took me a really long time to do, so maybe you could subscribe. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.